Okay, I appreciate that information. Ms. Ward, do you have any thoughts on that?
It seems to me, due to the uncertainty, it might be best if we cancel Thursday.
I don't think so. Really?
I mean, it would be very helpful to know exactly who's going to be testifying so that we can prepare.
Well, the best we can do is give you maybe 2 or 3 names. I think that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now. I know you're ready for Nagata already, and so she may be the one that comes. I don't know. If not her, then it's likely to be Mr. Stevens or Ms. Kaluna. So that's not a lot to ask, I think, but the only reason I frown on the cancellation is because we have moved heaven and earth to get these days here at the Naniloa, and also everyone's had to move their schedules around to be available, including myself. So it's really a challenge to lose a day for all of us. Ms. Pishota?
Yeah, aloha. I have a couple of concerns. The first is that if we move to the TIO witnesses, that would be 3 witnesses that we would have to prepare in a day and a half or so, which is really too much for us, I think, as pro se people. The other concern I have is that, and we've kind of been trying to hold down the 48-hour opportunity to do it because, we have lives and, we don't just live for the contested case hearing, and I'm not saying that you guys do either.
Well, actually.
But yeah, I mean, we're trying to do our best to keep up. The other concern I have, though, is that I really think the university's witnesses are really important, and some of the information that might come up here we really need to get through their information. And so I'm really at a loss to know what to do if they don't have any more witnesses. I mean, they have how many more witnesses left?
I don't know yet.
I mean, theoretically, how many guys do you have listed?
Well, at this point, once we start the hearing, people submit witnesses and never call every single witness unless they only name themselves. But generally speaking, the idea of the witnesses is to give us a little advance notice, but then, and you don't want a surprise. That's what that's for, not that it's a commitment to call every single one of these people. That's what the witness list is for. So I don't know how many...
Are they resting their case?
I don't know that, but they have a right to put on their witnesses. They're trying their best. This is an unusual circumstance.
But we would like to know if they're resting their case now or not.
I didn't hear those words today.
Okay.
I would have been celebrating.
And well, we have to plan too and have some context of planning about how to put on our case too. So I'm just...
Right. And that's why merging with TIO now is not a bad idea. We don't want to waste the time. So my thinking was, depending on where the university was next week or even Thursday, because they're going to tell us who their witnesses will be next week, then we'll know, and then I would ask TIO to start giving us that same notice, and then I have to start working with the cross-examiners on their witnesses. So we're not quite there yet, but I think we will be there next week.
Okay, and while I'm up here, can I just make a housekeeping question for you to answer after, maybe?
Let me write it down, okay? Go ahead.
Okay, it was just that we wanted to make sure we understood who is supposed to go next. Like, what is the order? Would it be UH, TIO, and then us guys? Like, Debbie. Okay, so that would be for how we will prepare to put our case on.
Yep.
Okay. So, and then, and I would say that I would object if we have to prepare for 3 witnesses in that short amount of time.
We should be prepared for Nagata already.
We are, but
Then you would only be preparing for maybe 2 more.
well, 3. Yeah, and the TIO one, so
The 2 from TIO. The first would be Mr. Stevens, Naya Stevens, and the second would be Heather Kaluna.
okay, so and Paul Coleman.
No,
Just 2.
it's either going to be Nagata, Stevens, or Kaluna is my best guess. I forced Mr. Shinyama to give us a third name because it's a just in case, but it's unlikely. I think you're going to find one of the 3 available on Thursday.
Okay, and okay, let me just state this also. I believe that the schedule is rigorous, and it gives us really virtually no time. For example, last week we got new witnesses, so we had to prepare the whole weekend. And that makes it so that we're having to actually work 7 days a week. And there's no plan for time off. And it appears as though, and I'm not saying it's contrived, but it appears as though anytime there's any time off, we suddenly have to work on witnesses. And I would like to state for the record that I think it's very difficult for all of us because we work, we have other jobs, we have other commitments, and standing up for our rights shouldn't mean that we have to work 7 days a week just to have it done. And it's because we have imposed on us a schedule. And I understand that, and we're not trying to delay anything, but we are trying to say I find it's too rigorous, and it's too rigorous for us as pro se as well. That's all.
It's your record.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Ching.
I really don't know what to tell you, except that I believe that we have a few constraints to work with. We're being forced to work with, including the 48-hour notice. And I will have to admit to you that this process has really challenged me, because as Ms. Pichota tried saying, that we've been working 7 days a week. I have been working 7 days a week, and in the last 4 days, I've only had 3 hours of sleep each night, and I know that other people are going through this kind of strain and distress. So, all I can tell you is it's very difficult. It's the most difficult thing I've done in a long time.
I understand.
So I ask for your consideration for making this thing as easy to work with as possible. Thank you.
Ms. Case?
I'm really trying to gather my thoughts here, and the first thing that comes to mind is that this is not a job for us. We are not getting paid for this. We have been chosen to be here. We have chosen to be here. But this is not a job for us. At the end of the day, it's not one of us win or lose. This could change everything for our people and the next 7 generations. This weighs heavy on us as parties. We have chosen and been chosen to stand up for not just our mauna, but the future of our children and the next 7 generations. And what I'm picturing right here in my mind, and I hope my husband is not watching, because I don't want him to say that I shouldn't have said this when I go home. I'm thinking about how he prepares to stand here and deliver the cross-examinations that he does and teach full-time at the university, community college in Kona. And I don't think you would expect anything less from him. I think that you expect him to be the top of his game, and he does it because it's not a job. It's because it's his kuleana, his responsibility, a privilege, a task, and a birthright. And I find it extremely disturbing that we can be almost flippant, about saying, well, it could be this one, or maybe this one on Thursday, Nagata, or maybe the next one, or maybe the next one, because it's not that easy to really put your heart and soul and all of the research. It's not about just looking into direct testimony. It's about looking at all of the records, all of the exhibits, all of the reports. And I don't know who thinks that that is easy, even if you're paid to do it with a staff. But for us, this is just not fair. It's not about, oh, make sure you are able to be ready, and you should be ready for Nagata already. You know, I don't know if that's true, if we would be ready for Nagata already, if we're doing the best that we can for the one prior to her. I'm only speaking for my husband and I'm not even speaking for him, because, like I said, I don't think he would want me to say that, but I am. Because this is the mauna we are talking about. This is extremely important to us, and we want to do the best job. And when I look around this room, we have come a far ways from the beginning of this case. When I look at the parties in this room who are preparing every single minute, every spare minute, even when there isn't a spare minute, and I'm so proud of all of you. And when we get a jolt like that to say, oh, one cannot come, and I realize we might do the same thing, and I might regret that I'm saying this today, but this is repeated. We might have this one, oh, this one cannot come. I hope we don't do that. I hope we don't. But what I am saying is that this is more than a court case to us, and we should have every opportunity to be fully prepared. And we should never, as people, as mothers, as fathers, as patriots standing for our Hawaii, be told that we might have to prepare for 3 by Thursday because we don't know which one it's going to be. And that's just my thought right now, because I'm going to drive home and we're going to start to prepare for 2 or 3. And it's not a job. It's our life. So I'm not even going to apologize for that. I'm going to say that I stand here, kukia I mauna, mauna awakea, till my last breath. And I'm just standing so that it's at least fair. Thank you.
I and everyone else and yourself, well, others are getting paid to be here, but regardless, we've had to clear October, November, December, and January. Pretty much, we didn't know the dates until, as soon as we could here. But those are 4 months, and I speak for myself, unable to get a job here or in Honolulu that will allow me such flexibility. Up to 4 days a week, I have to be available here 7.5 hours at least, I think. At least half of that time repeated again at night to prepare for the next day, if not another 6 hours with my friends here. And I just don't know when and how any pro se can be accommodated. And I'm worried about the next 4 months and the next 4 months. And it's just very, very hard, Your Honor. And I know you're trying to get this done efficiently, but with such a big load of tasks to complete. And I don't know what I'm asking except some kind of relief to be able, I can't financially, even if I was living here, be able to sustain this much longer. And I just want to put that on the table, Your Honor.
I understand, Mr. Kealoha, and that's why I've tried to be efficient, not to speed things along. That is not my interest. I've tried to be efficient because it impacts everybody.
Yes.
So I know that people are making many sacrifices, whether you're paid or you're not paid. Believe me, I thought the hearing was going to be over in October. So my life has been crazy for November and December because I had already planned things from 6 months back. So, but I'm not asking you to feel anything. I'm just saying I know folks have to drive long distances, have come here in the rain, and I get it. So we have to be efficient, and we need to move forward, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, and it's not just the sacrifice of time and, the rain and the travel. It's the inability to participate financially because I have rent and bills and stuff to pay, just like everybody else. And it's 4 months of that already. And
well,
what kind of job is going to keep me?
People are making choices. Mr. Kanaile, for one.
Yes,
Mr. Freitas has
I
made
understand.
choices. Many of them, I get it.
Yes.
And so I'm trying to accommodate as best I can and to be fair with everyone. We have to be focused, streamlined, and at the same time fair to everyone. So, I get it. So even when if we lose a day, a half a day, you're here for half a day, it's up to you. You have to decide.
But it's just, when it comes between food, shelter, there's not much of a decision left. And I don't know how any pro se, I only can speak for myself because I'm an individual here. I don't think I'm the only person here with issues, so I recognize that. But I'm saying that if these are my problems and those I've heard expressed are pretty similar, without the financial means and without the hours to get that financial means, there's no way many can continue this.
I think that people have made choices and they're making adjustments. They choose to sometimes miss certain witnesses that may not be important. They're able to follow the proceedings so they don't have to lose out on the actual impact by watching Naleo. So that's all we can do, and that's why I asked at the very beginning, you might remember,
Yes.
when you join as a party, you understand what that means.
It should not mean having to not work, not make money, and be in the position. There's no solution for that.
But there isn't any solution, and it does mean that. That's what I asked. From the beginning, I asked that. I offered people the opportunity, if they want to say their piece under oath, to be a witness like Mrs. Holy has chosen to do. But I can only offer it. And so everybody has to make choices. At this point, there is no solution except to say that I understand that many, many people, if not all of us here, are making those kinds of choices. So I can't solve your problem.
Well, this is my suggestion. There are labor laws for a reason when you're actually getting paid, and there are only so much hours in a month, and the physics of it, science of it, it's not even possible with the hours we work to hold a job that will sustain anything. And I just want to put that on the table. And I think the solution is like, hey, I need hours to work during the month, so would you limit the hours of the month so I can at least get a job as a part-time worker or something with somebody would hire me? Because as a pro se, it's important that I feed myself, have shelter, and take care of my kuleana. As a pro se, I cannot participate in a pro se event that is preventing me from providing the essential necessities for myself and those I care about. And I know you understand, but what the hours are overly too much. They're too much. It doesn't allow for you to be able to sustain yourself economically and have a job.
January is going to be worse.
This is 4 months.
January is 4 days a week.
But
we haven't done that yet.
The pro se is
I'm just letting you know.
To not work and not eat and not have a shelter. I mean, like, where is the time in physical, in this plane of existence? Where is that time?
At this point, you're taking everyone's time. I hear you. I understand. I've set the schedule.
It doesn't have to be 4 days a week. It doesn't have to be 700 hours since the pre-hearing. I think there should be a limit, and I thank you very much
All right.
for accommodating us so far.
Thank you, Mr. Kealoha. Ms. Kihoe?
Aloha. I'm just wanted to state for the record that I am thankful that we were able to resolve on Thursday, about Thursday, and that it's a relief to know that it may possibly just be one, if not, or two people, because as a pro se, it is hard for us to prepare, within outside of a 48-hour notice, and it's not easy. And looking around here, there's so many people that aren't here today because they're sick. Uncle Hank's not here. There's a number of our people that can't be here right now. And we have UH and TMT. They have lawyers to fill in for them. Not all days Mr. Shinyama's here. Not all days Mr. Ng is here. Not all days Mr. Sanderson is here. We
get Mr. Louis Kwan all day.
Oh, that is true. But I just want to say we don't have people to substitute our position.
But you have made some friends, and so one of the alternatives that you might consider, among many things to fill the gaps, is I know that you folks have helped each other with the questions, so you might consider that. It's up to you. I'm doing the best I can.
No, I know. I understand that, and that's why it's apparent, that I am learning as much as I can, and that's why I want to be here, because it is a struggle for me to formulate my questions, and I get objected every day, and I'm learning how to process through that. And so I want to make sure to be here every day and to be as present as I can. I also have a full-time job. I don't get paid to be here, I don't like to say paid. Listen, I don't get funded to be here. I have a full-time job, and I don't always have the time when I go home to study because I work at 5:30 in the morning. I have a daughter that I have to make accommodations for her to get to school, for somebody to pick her up. I have to be away from her. And I'm sorry, I know this isn't your fault, but when we were told that we would have to, shift our processing so quickly to accommodate, certain witnesses that aren't able to be here, it made me feel really anxious to have to think of that so quickly. And we are trying the best that we can, and it's hard when we see newspaper articles that just came out and reports on the media on TV saying that we're trying to prolong this process, and that's not what we're trying to do. We're just trying to assert our rights the best that we can.
Don't read the paper.
I don't read the paper. We're not trying to prolong this.
No.
I'm still learning.
We're all moving as fast as we can. I know there are many sacrifices. I got it. Okay. So I'm not doing anything thoughtlessly, believe me. Okay. But I have to be fair to everyone, and the process has built in things. So I'm relying on that. So I thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? Otherwise, we all have to catch a flight tonight. Thank you so much. Thursday morning, 9 o'clock.